In the heart of the ancient African kingdom of Mantoguard, where the sun kissed the golden savanna and the trees whispered secrets to the wind, there lived a king unlike any other, King Gazi Jelani, a king loved by the true people of Mantoguard as a leader who considers the well-being of his people. He was blessed with a beautiful queen, who's with the wisdom of the ancients as they expect their first child. His land was threatened by the ruthless neighboring kingdom led by the notorious cunning King Apollo, whose thirst for power knew no bounds. King Apollo was both feared and admired by the creatures of the land. On a fateful night, as the moon hung low and the stars painted constellations across the sky, Mantoguard faced its darkest hour. The neighboring warlord, King Apollo the Merciless, led a horse of raiders to plunder the kingdom. Their swords glinted like vipers' eyes, and their war cries echoed through the 7 gates of the kingdom and threw shivers down the spine of every living creature as they marched forward. The tower watchmen of the kingdom blew the trumpet of war, which traveled through the 7 gates of Mantoguard, informing the people that the kingdom is under attack. The king summoned his chief warrior and instructed him to get his men ready for battle. Amidst this chaos, the queen went into labor and was immediately surrounded by her trusted palace maids and midwives. The queen groaned in pain, but with determination, she pushed hard, clinging to the hope that her child will emerge to the sound of celebration. As the raiders approaches the first gate of the kingdom and the king, pacing to and fro the outer chambers, a child was born. A daughter. The child's cries harmonized with the battle drums. On seeing the child, everyone in the betting room, including the queen, opened their eyes and mouths in shock. Her skin had the color of a sun-kissed soil, and her eyes held the fire of 1,000 suns, with a birthmark that set her apart, a lion mark on her body. The queen used her last strength to call on the king. Upon hearing her scream, King Dazi ran into the betting room and held his queen. He immediately saw his child and opened his eyes in shock. "This is the prophecy, an iota of hope for our kingdom," the king echoed. "We shall call her Zena," said the queen. The joy was such that they almost forgot about the battle. Within seconds, the king's smile disappeared. "Clean up the queen and take her to safety," the king instructed. "As for the princess, take her out of the kingdom through the back gates." The palace maids wondered why the king instructed that the princess be taken away. "I will take her," the older midwife said, interrupting the thoughts of the palace maids. The king marched out of the chamber to face what has befallen his kingdom. The warriors of the first gate battled with might and power, but the raiders came rather prepared to conquer all. King Apollo was raving hot as he massacred the people he came in contact with, and the battle continued. The midwife continued her journey into the forest with the child for days. She arrived at a scary-looking shrine on the night of the 6th day. She let out a loud laugh, exhuming her evil form. "The kingdom has trusted the wrong person. The prophecy must not be fulfilled. Apollo must conquer Dazi Jelani, and I will rule as queen over Mantoguard." She began uttering silent incantations all through the early hours of the night to silence the prophecy. As her mind was focused on the incantations, Zena began to grow at an astonishing rate. Within hours, she stood tall, her limbs strong and graceful, a fierce warrior with lion marks all over her body. Her eyes glittered like ancient gemstones, and her golden crown sat atop her beautiful hair, each strand woven with stories of courage and defiance. As the dawn approached, her laughter echoed through the shrine and everything went apart. It was the evil midwife who stood frozen, her hands trembling, her eyes widened as she beheld Zena's intimidating look. "Child," the midwife whispered, "what manner of magic is this?" Zena's voice resonated like distant thunder. "I am Queen Zena, the Z of Mantoguard," she declared, "the undefeated seventh-day warrior, destined to protect the kingdom and the forest at large." The midwife crossed herself, torn between awe and fear. "7 days," she murmured. "I see your evil intent through your raving spirit, and for betraying the kingdom, I would have cursed you to vanish into thin air. But for the sake of second chance, I will let this lay low." Zena dismissed the midwife and lifted her hands up to the sky, summoning her chi to see her through. She led her strength and prowess as a warrior unmatched and unbreakable to the third gate of Mantoguard, as Apollo's army already conquered 2 walls of Mantoguard within 6 days and already in the third gate. Her presence took her enemies off guard. "The prophecy," King Apollo echoed. The warrior queen standing tall, her gaze fierce and unwavering, long flowing hair, the color of midnight, cascades down her back, framing a face marked with determination and strength. Her eyes, like piercing sapphires, hold a fire that ignites the battlefield. Each step she takes is purposeful, radiating an aura of power and command. Adorned in armor, adorned with symbols of her legacy, she exudes an air of regal authority and formidable prowess. But Apollo isn't the type to want to give up easily. His standby raiders marched in to support, and the battle took a chaotic turn. The king's chief warrior, shocked and confused at the same time, took his men and fled to safety, leaving Zena alone to face the battle. The angry raiders all surrounded Zena, each of them plotting strategies on how to devour her within seconds. "Show her the power of multitude against one," Apollo commanded. "The prophecy must not be fulfilled. Take her down." The raiders all charged, their shouts of war clashing against Zena's roar. They all took a fierce run in unity towards Zena as the fight just began.